Alrighty then, today's a speed round because I'm still really behind on Blu-ray editions, so we're just gonna get straight on into it. October Blu-ray editions, let's go. So, starting us off is Spectre. I think this is a pretty mediocre James Bond movie. I like Daniel Craig playing James Bond, but in terms of all of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies, like, Spectre is better than Quantum of Solace, which was a terrible movie that was literally written during a writer's strike. That's how bad that movie was. And on the other hand, Spectre is actually worse than both Casino Royale and Skyfall, which I consider to be two of the best James Bond movies, other than maybe Goldfinger. But yeah, Spectre, it's pretty lame. I like the performances. I like some of the story. I just felt it wasn't as good as the other two really good James Bond movies with Daniel Craig, those being Casino Royale and Spectre, or not Spectre, and Skyfall, which were incredibly good. Spectre didn't really have as much, excitement to it. I don't really know why I didn't like this movie. I just didn't. It's weird. Usually I have reasons to dislike movies. That's what I do as a movie reviewer. I find reasons to dislike movies. But I don't have a reason to dislike this movie. I just do. Yeah. The Spectre, I would only recommend seeing it so that you can go watch No Time to Die. That's the only reason I really wanted to watch Spectre. Like, I was like, man, this movie has terrible reviews. This movie, looks terrible. Or not terrible. This movie has pretty okay reviews and looks alright. I like the other James Bond movies, but I'm gonna see this because I want to see No Time to Die. And so I got it. Didn't like Spectre as much as I thought I would. Yeah, next up is Paranorman. I haven't seen this movie since I was I don't know, 6. I don't know. It feels like an old movie to me. It was just something I watched in theaters, watched again on Redbox, and was obsessed with for a bit. And then I just completely forgot about it. And then one day I saw it in Walmart and was like, I forgot that movie existed. I should go see it sometimes. And then that triggered this memory in my head of 30 other stop motion movies or animated movies that I just completely forgot existed. But I still haven't watched Paranorman. It's my goal to, it's my aspiration. It's truly the highest goal I have, to someday see Paranorman again. But yeah, maybe I will watch it. Next up is Coco. I like Coco. It's a fun movie. Yeah. It's a fun movie. I like Pixar. I think it's one of the better Pixar movies of recently. Take a look at the recent Pixar movies. Some of them have been good, some not so good. I hear Onward's pretty lame. I watched the first few minutes of it. Onward was pretty lame. Luca was also pretty lame. Soul was good, and Coco was good. Coco was good. It's one of the better of the newer Pixar movies. I like Coco. Yeah, I feel like I just essentially repeated myself a lot in that sentence, because I don't really have much to say on this. Coco was a good movie. And it was directed by Lee Unkrich, who directed probably some other Pixar movies, I don't really know, but I know he did direct Toy Story 3, which does happen to be my favorite Pixar movie of all time. Next up is Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Dude, this movie is, unbelievably sad. Unbelievably sad. It's not sad enough to get me to weep like a little baby like I did in Harold and Maude. TMI, maybe. TMI. But Harold and Maude was a sad movie. I cried during Harold and Maude. But Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close is super duper sad. Was it a good movie? Kinda. Kinda. Yeah. If you want to see a movie kinda similar to Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, go watch Rain Over Me with Adam Sandler. That's actually a pretty good movie. It's not like a comedy, it's more of a serious movie, but you'll love Rain Over Me. I loved it. But anyway, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. It's about this boy who's just trying to find the lock that he finds this key that his father left behind because his father died during the September 11th attacks, which were a terrible event. Those were absolutely terrible. So anyway, he finds this key that his father left behind before he died, and then so he's just trying to find what that key unlocks. And so what really is great about Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close is there are a lot of characters that seem very unique. The entire life of New York City is kind of put on display, and we see all these eccentric citizens of New York, uh, and how they live their day to day. We also kind of see like how a lot of people were affected by the September 11th bombings, attacks. Yeah, once again a terrible incident. I feel really bad bringing it up, but yeah. So it kind of shows like lives affected by a truly horrific event. Shows the life of all these people in a city and just how all these people go about their day. And everyone is really unique in that way, and the story feels a lot more real. But on the other hand, I do have some complaints about Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Those being that they barely show emotion in any other way than screaming, insulting people, or crying. Like, there are other ways to show that you're angry at someone other than just yelling your lungs out at them. Like, you could yell your voice off all you want, but Kevin Spacey is a great example of how to show you're angry without absolutely destroying your voice, which is just kind of, have a very serious tone, throw stuff sometimes, but don't yell. Like, watch Kevin Spacey in American Beauty. That's how you can show anger without, without screaming.
Don't interrupt me, honey.
So anyway, the other problem is Sandra Bullock had a really interesting character, and she's a very good actor, and she does really good in this movie. So why is it that she only gets like 5 minutes total of screen time? Because I honestly think I would have liked to see more of her kind of interacting with her son, or at least trying to, because part of the arc is that like uh ever since the father of the family was lost or died, Sandra Bullock and her son, her son being the main character, have kind of become disconnected with each other. And so we don't actually see much of what she's up to or what she's doing. We just kind of learn about her more, see some conflict, see what she ended up doing to the story, and then that's about it. I really wish she could have gotten maybe 10 minutes of screen time instead of 5. But yeah, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, the other final problem about Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close is that about most of the runtime, I was thinking, you know what? I really want to smack this main character of a boy. The main character of this movie is a little boy. Now, he has reason to be really angry, but he is just an absolute brat of a character, and you want to smack him all the time. You're like, you know what? This person's a terrible child, a terrible friend, a terrible partner, a terrible boy. Just a terrible character overall. He's a bad person, and yeah, you just really dislike him. They do virtually nothing for most of the story to try and redeem any sort of wrongdoing he did. Like, this kid does some actually bad things, or actually, like, heartless things, and we're just meant to not care. So anyway, moving on, because that was essentially my full review of the movie. I essentially just went through most of Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Yeah. So anyways, next up is The Men Who Stare at Goats. I haven't seen this movie, because it's rated R, and I am not in a position to watch too many rated R movies, but I do anyway, with my parents' permission. Next up is a rated R movie I did have permission to watch, Zombieland. This movie was alright. I really don't get why people are calling this, like, one of the funniest American comedies of all time. It's not. It's alright. But yeah, Zombieland, it's pretty fun. The weird thing about this movie is the main character is Jesse Eisenberg, and he's basically the whole story is there's a zombie apocalypse, and also he's kind of hitting on Emma Stone's character. On the other hand, Woody Harrelson in this movie is like the best part of this movie. He is the visual representation of Murka, not America, Murka. He basically rides around in either a monster truck or any sort of like any sort of big van of any sort, like, not like a Jeep, I think. I don't know. I don't really know cars that well. But he rides around toting a shotgun in more than likely a monster truck or a Cadillac or whatever. And he basically spends the whole movie looking for Twinkies. Now, I don't care about I don't care about this being a rom-com. Now, that means something, because my favorite movie of all time is a rom-com, Annie Hall. But Zombieland could have been just an hour and a half of Woody Harrelson searching for Twinkies, and I would have loved it just the same. Now, does that mean this movie wasn't funny? No, this movie was pretty funny. It was, I guess, funny. But mostly, I just want a movie about a gun-toting Twinkie searcher. But yeah. Anyway, so next up is... Oh yeah, one more thing, actually. Zombieland, another movie like it is Shaun of the Dead. I like Shaun of the Dead much better than Zombieland, and I think you might as well. So, if you have to choose between Zombieland or Shaun of the Dead, watch Shaun of the Dead. Fantastic movie. Next up is Suicide Squad. Didn't see it, probably won't for a while. I mostly just bought this because... my mom and I are planning on doing a DC marathon. We're planning on seeing all the DC movies. And so one of those includes Suicide Squad. I'm really not excited to see this movie. I hear it's just... I've heard so many bad things about this movie. Like, what I've heard, it's a prolonged music video. It's a piece of garbage. Nothing about it's good. Well, no, I haven't heard nothing's about it good. The only creative part of this movie is the soundtrack. And Jared Leto plays possibly the worst Joker of all time since Cesar Romero. Was that the name of the guy who played the Joker facing off against Adam West? Was it Cesar Romero? I don't know. But yeah, I'm not excited to see Suicide Squad whatsoever. I hear the only good part of it was like Margot Robbie. But yeah, I have no intention of seeing this out of pure enjoyment. More of seeing it so I can, watch the DC movies and then get it over with. But yeah, I guess I shouldn't be too hard on it, but I'm gonna be too hard on it. Anyway, so next up is Foxcatcher. So, here's the thing. Look at this cover, and if you haven't seen Foxcatcher, identify which of these three is Steve Carell. The middle one. That is Steve Carell playing John DuPont. Now, is that weird? Yes. They put, obviously, an insane amount of makeup on him. But... So what Foxcatcher is about is John DuPont is this wealthy billionaire who tries to assemble an Olympics wrestling team with the help of like a washed-up Olympic wrestler named Mark Schultz and his brother Dave Schultz. And so the thing is, though, although this team of wrestlers named Team Foxcatcher is really successful, John DuPont is absolutely insane and really erratic, and so because he's super erratic, he just kind of threatens the legacy, the success, and sometimes the lives of the members of Team Foxcatcher, namely both Mark and Dave Schultz. And so, Foxcatcher is kind of it's a sports movie, but more of it's a thriller type of movie. It's like Whiplash. Because Mark Schultz, who's played by Channing Tatum, he's like the main character, kind of. Mark Schultz is like absolutely obsessed with being a great wrestler, regardless of what it takes. Similar to Whiplash. And he has his mentor, John DuPont, who's kind of insane, really erratic, threatens the safety and mental health of his student. Yeah, that's Whiplash, but with wrestling instead of drumming. I like Whiplash better, but... One thing I do want to say, Steve Carell in Foxcatcher playing John DuPont, probably his best performance since Michael Scott in The Office. Because here's the thing, a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I think that Steve Carell is like the most overrated actor, or at least one of the most overrated actors, because he doesn't do that many good movies. Like, think of how many good Steve Carell movies there are. There's Beautiful Boy, Foxcatcher, some seasons of The Office, because not all of The Office is good, be honest. You didn't like all of The Office. You liked some seasons. Some of the Despicable Me movies were also good. Despicable Me? Did I say Despicable B? I don't know. Despicable Me. Some of the Despicable Me movies were good. And then he was good in Anchorman. Not the second one, just the first Anchorman. He was good in like a few movies, but mostly he's not that great of an actor. Yeah, you'll probably go see a movie because it has Steve Carell in it, but like I really don't like Steve Carell that much. He's never really been one of my favorites. But he's really good in Foxcatcher as like a more serious role as John DuPont because he plays this disconnected billionaire super well. I think this is one of his best performances. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen. Uh, like here's the thing I've noticed. Have you noticed that comedic actors are really good at playing serious roles when you give them the right ones? Steve Carell as John DuPont in Foxcatcher. Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting. Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo. Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. Bill Murray in Lost in Translation. Adam Sandler in Reign Over Me. Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love. Yeah, a lot of Adam Sandler in here. Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Those are all comedic actors playing really good, serious roles. And one of the best serious roles played by a comedic actor, in my opinion, Steve Carell in Foxcatcher. I love Foxcatcher. This is a good movie. This is a good movie. So next up is The Great Gatsby. Haven't seen this because I want to read the book first. But that might never happen because I don't know how to read. No, I don't know. I'm caught up between books at the moment. I just finished Of Mice and Men. I'm still reading A Farewell to Arms, and I have to read The Crucible for class. Oh my gosh, a voice crack. Ugh. I still have to read The Crucible for class, so I don't know when I'm gonna read The Great Gatsby, but after I do, I'll go watch the movie. Yeah. Anyway, Gran Torino. This is like in my top 10 favorite movies. Also, weird movie for my grandma to recommend. Like, I don't know. I've noticed like some people that I didn't think would recommend me these types of movies have recommended me very interesting recommendations. Like, my other grandma, because everyone's entitled to two grandmas and two grandpas, my other grandma recommended that I watch The Godfather. My mom recommended that I watch The Expendables, yeah, and my grandma recommended Gran Torino, which is one of the most profane movies I've ever seen, other than maybe all of Quentin Tarantino's movies. Like, I've seen most of Quentin Tarantino's movies, and Gran Torino is up there with, like, Django Unchained. Gran Torino isn't directed by Quentin Tarantino, it's directed by Clint Eastwood. But Gran Torino, this is kind of the movie that got me interested in Clint Eastwood's later career, because as of before, I've more have been watching him in like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, stuff like that. But now that I see he's actually a really good actor and a really good director, I've been trying to find out more stuff that he's been in. Like, I watched Trouble with the Curve the other night. That was not that great of a movie, to be honest. But Gran Torino was fantastic. There are a lot of things I really like about this movie. So what it's about is this Korean War veteran who starts out the movie as like really cynical, really jaded. He actually displays that he hates his own family members. Like, he hates a lot of his own family members. And he's also pretty racist. Yeah. So we start out the movie with this very, like, flawed, kind of, like, typical crotchety, curmudgeonly old man. Is curmudgeonly a real word? I don't know. I know curmudgeon's a real word. Anyway, so he starts out as this total curmudgeon. And then he meets this, Hmong family. Is it Hmong or Hmong? I should know. I have Vietnamese family. Hmong people used to be in Vietnam. They're not anymore, but, anyway, I'm gonna stop going on these side tangents. Anyway, so he befriends this Hmong family living next door, and the problem is this Hmong family is connected with, like, they're the victim of a lot of gang activity, and so Clint Eastwood's character, this jaded old man, kind of, like, gets involved indirectly with all this gang activity in his neighborhood, and, he kind of, while befriending this Hmong family, just really starts to change as a person. He really improves on his outlook of life, how he acts, the type of things he does. he ultimately becomes a better person through this friendship, and I really think Gran Torino is a really good movie. It's a very heartwarming movie. It has a lot of good messages to learn, especially. I love Gran Torino. There's not much more I can say about it that I probably won't say in a review. But yeah, The Departed. Didn't see it because it's rated R. Rated R. Why did I say that with an accent? What the heck, Lorenzo? Dirty Dancing. Didn't see this because I want to save it for a review, and I figured that if I see it before I do this video, I'll end up just talking about all my thoughts. You saw me do it with Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I basically reviewed that movie. So I don't want to do the same for Dirty Dancing because I did promise to someone that I'd review it on another occasion. So yeah, that'll probably be next year, but until then, haven't seen Dirty Dancing. Next up is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I haven't seen this either. This is the final movie of this whole list that I haven't seen. I swear, I have a good reason that I haven't seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's that I don't want to see the movie without assembling a whole theater troupe to come bother me while I watch the movie. Have you ever seen those midnight showings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show? I haven't been to any because I don't want to. And I also don't know any in my area other than one that happened a couple months ago. But, basically, I saw one of these happen in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I'm not sure how they actually go. I think I might have known someone. I know someone who was probably in one of these performances, so I'll have to ask her. But, anyway, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Thing is, they do these, I hear they do these midnight screenings where they, like, show the movie and then have cast members, like, come out of, like, off stage and then start dancing to the music or sing or lip syncing or just bothering the audience. I don't get why that's a thing. I don't get why you can't just watch your movie in peace. Maybe people enjoy it. I don't know. I'm just a cynical, jaded guy who doesn't understand the youth. I don't understand the youth. But yeah. Anyway, Rocky Horror Picture Show, I'll probably never see it. And honestly, I probably have no intention of seeing this at all. But I saw it and I was like, what the heck, I'll buy it, because I've heard about it. And yeah, I'll never see it. Anyway, Edward Scissorhands. I love Tim Burton. I love Tim Burton. Tim Burton directed Edward Scissorhands. He's very similar to my all-time favorite director, Wes Anderson, in terms of style. Both direct very, like, pastel color palette type movies with, I don't know, they just have very, like, pastel color palettes, and yeah, that's it. That's all they have in common. But Wes Anderson tries to keep it kind of upbeat, even though going into more serious subject matter. On the other hand, Tim Burton goes into the more gothic type of sense, and he absolutely nailed that, like, gothic Wes Anderson type in Edward Scissorhands. I love this movie. I love Johnny Depp in this movie. He gave a great performance. Danny Elfman did a really good job with the soundtrack. Tim Burton directed the heck out of this movie, and I'll probably be watching this for Christmas, because technically it's a Christmas movie in a way. I don't know, I just want to watch Edward Scissorhands, man. So anyway, for our top 5 movies of the month, in 5th place we have Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I did have problems with this movie, but that doesn't mean I didn't like it, because I did. This is a really heartwarming, gut-wrenchingly sad movie. I love Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Love is too strong of a word.
I love you. You know, I loathe you. I love you. With 2 F's.
I like it. It's a good movie. So in 4th place is Coco. This is one of the better Pixar movies, as I said before. I like this a lot. I like Coco a lot. Like, it's a really good movie. In 3rd place is Foxcatcher. Really good thriller movie. There's a lot of really interesting cinematography that adds to a lot of suspense. In 2nd place, Edward Scissorhands. Yeah, this is just a basic choice, but everyone likes Edward Scissorhands. Everyone likes Edward Scissorhands. It's such a good movie. And in 1st place, probably one of my all-time favorite movies. I've only seen it once, but I absolutely loved this movie. Gran Torino. Everyone go see Gran Torino because it's a masterpiece of direction, masterpiece of acting, masterpiece of storytelling, and a masterpiece of a film. Go see it. I don't do this as much, but I will reference Gran Torino not as much, but as strongly as I recommend Annie Hall. Yeah, it's a great movie. I really liked Gran Torino, and I have the strongest feeling that you will too. Well, that just about does it for October 2021 Blu-ray editions. Thank you very much for watching a really long video. I hope to get November Blu-ray editions out of the way soon, because that's going to be a probably harder to make video, because November was a good month for me in terms of Blu-ray editions, but a hard month for me in terms of making Blu-ray edition videos. Yeah, it's gonna be a hard video to make, but I hope to get it out either today or tomorrow, so that way I can move on to another video I really need to make before Christmas time. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Before you leave, how about you tell me your favorite movie of all of these movies? Mine, you just saw, it was Gran Torino. After you tell me about that, you can head on out. Stay safe and watch good movies. Bye!